It's happening again. The Chicago Bulls, picked by ESPN to now finish in the play-in situation. We're going to be talking about what that means for the Chicago Bulls and what is the likelihood of them actually tanking this upcoming season. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and this is another episode of Bulls Digest. And before we jump into today's hot topic, I want to go ahead and share a special message from the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you could be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code DIGEST to get your free topper. It's the perfect accessory to your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. It's chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's reusable. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfume.com and use the code DIGEST, or you can scan the QR code on the screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. Go to tryfume.com/digest or scan the QR code and use the code DIGEST to get your free Fume base when you order your journey pack today. All right, so we're talking about an article that appeared on ESPN Plus, and I believe it's their writers and some of their NBA experts went ahead and predicted the NBA Eastern Conference and where everybody was going to finish. I must say, out of the top 6 teams, really no surprise other than the fact that they do have the Cavaliers over the Bucks. I'm not really sure I'm buying that situation. I think that, the Bucks are going to be a lot better than what they were a season ago, especially since they're probably not going to be making any type of big trade before training camp, and they're probably not going to be firing their coach at midseason. But who knows? Maybe that's going to happen. But anyhow, I think that the Bucks should maybe have been ahead of the Cavs. But I understand, with the way the Cavs finished at the end of the year, that is a possibility, and it's possible that the Bucks could fall apart. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the Bucks. We're here to talk about the Chicago Bulls. And so they also have the next tier of teams, and that is going to be the play-in teams. And well, your Chicago Bulls, or our Chicago Bulls, are right there in there. And so look, they are picked to finish 10th at this point at 30-52. Last season, we were 39-43, if I'm not mistaken. And look, that just lets you know that the Chicago Bulls are probably trending towards a play-in situation. I had said it before that Vegas has them listed at about 27 wins, and that's going to be hovering right around into that play-in situation. And I must say, look, I even think that if they're there is a possibility that they might even be better than Atlanta and finish in the 9th seed, because Atlanta has Trae Young on the trade block, so I'm not sure he's actually going to finish the season. And then that could basically take Atlanta down another couple slots. And I'd say the teams that are chasing the Chicago Bulls are interesting, because you have Toronto, you have Brooklyn, you have Charlotte, you have Detroit, and you have Washington. And I think that, look, between Brooklyn and Washington, I absolutely think that they are going to be terrible. I mean, just absolutely terrible. The Pistons, I'm not really sure I believe in them, especially they're really going to be depending on, I think, Cade Cunningham and his health. And I don't necessarily think I see that happening. I know that they've gone with another coach as well, and I just don't think that the Pistons are going to pull it together this year. I think that they're going to be in the bottom. I think Charlotte is a team that absolutely could leap us. In fact, I think that it's a possibility that they actually might be in a play-in situation, but that is going to depend on the health of LaMelo Ball. And then also, too, they're going to need to see other players on this roster like Brandon Miller take another leap for that to happen. So it is a possibility that they could move up. But, I just think that for the fans out there that want to see the Chicago Bulls go ahead and tank and really protect that pick, I just don't see it. And this is why we're probably upset as a fan base, because the Chicago Bulls just haven't picked a direction. They have one foot in the right now, and then they have one foot in the future. And I think to ensure and to protect that particular pick, you're going to have to tear it down, and you're going to have to be terrible. And something tells me now that we see this Lonzo Ball 5-on-5 videos really surface, like there's a chance that I've said this too. I said that, look, in those videos, in that open run, I said that, look, it's a bit relaxed. He looks about 75 to 80%. His basketball IQ is there. His jump shot is there. And I'm like, look, if he can play 75 to 80% in a real NBA game, taking contact, and he's not missing games and there's no minute restriction, you have to think that even if he's coming off the bench, the Chicago bench is going to be very good. Especially if Ayo has to go into the bench row and come off with that second unit. Like, those guys are going to cook a little bit, and they might, in fact, be better than the first unit. I mean, he'd be coming in with Jalen Smith. He's coming in with Ayo. He also has Modest Buzelis to work with as well. Like, that unit might be dangerous. And then you add in the fact that there's going to be times where he might have to finish a game. There might be lineups where he ends up with Zach Lavine, who's out there and still on the team. And I mean, that could be reminiscent of where they were 3 years ago. And so, look, the Chicago Bulls just haven't done enough to move us in the tanking direction. And something tells me that, the other teams that are behind us are probably going to be smarter in their tanking situation, meaning that they're going to be all in, right? And so even if the Chicago Bulls are on the fence between going into the play-in situation or a tanking team, we're probably going to be behind because other teams have focused on this throughout the year. And so I think that this is going to put us in a challenging situation. And this goes into what Stacey King had said on his podcast. He is a commentator for the Chicago Bulls. I think it's called Gimme the Hot Sauce. But he said this a couple times. He said, look, out of the players on the Chicago Bulls roster right now that are 25 and younger, between 7 to 8 of those players have, I think, they have like 800 starts between them. All right. So that suggests that they have some experience, guys. So we don't have a team that is super young, unlike a team like 2000, 2001. In fact, it had 8 rookies on that particular team, and well, it was disastrous and terrible. When you look at the record, they were 15 and 67 that year. Other than what happened in 98, 99, I have nightmares just thinking about it. That was when Jordan and Pippen and all those guys left, 13 and 37. It was a horrible season. I can just remember looking at those games and just wondering how much the Chicago Bulls were going to get beat by. And those were when Tim Floyd was the head coach there. So I just don't see the Chicago Bulls being that terrible this year. It just doesn't add up to that. And then just historically where the Chicago Bulls have been throughout the 2000s, they haven't really been a team that's been that terrible until you date back into the 98, 99 season or the 2000, 2001 season. And so, again, I just say with this roster that the Chicago Bulls currently have, it doesn't suggest a roster that is going to tank. It does suggest a roster that more than likely is probably going to be in the play-in situation. So I leave it to you, the viewers out there. Do you think the Chicago Bulls are going to take some massive action in tearing this team down and ensuring that it is going to tank? Or do you feel like the Chicago Bulls are going to continue at the same pace, right, in the same way, and just being in the middle of the Eastern Conference and not taking 2 steps back so they can take 6, 7 steps forward so they could perhaps maybe get out of the East or maybe even get into an NBA championship at some point in time, or at least a final. So let me know what you're thinking in the comments. And as usual, I want to thank everybody out there for mashing the subscribe button and let you know that 67.1% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed. So please continue to slam dunk on that subscribe button for me. It would mean a lot as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers. And I want to give a special shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Fume. And look, even though writers and everybody sees that the Chicago Bulls are more than likely heading to the play-in, I'm still holding hope that they're going to hopefully hold on to this pick and get a franchise player next year. I'm hoping. But until then, go Bulls. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.